I'm very honored to introduce our speaker for today's speaker series, Ms. Staci Reidinger. Staci is an award-winning PR, marketing, and nonprofit professional and 24-year U.S. Marine Corps veteran. She is the co-founder of Cause San Diego, which is a social impact hub whose mission is to build a stronger, more vibrant San Diego region by accelerating social impact of for-profit businesses and nonprofit organizations through education, training, outreach, and key engagements. Staci is also the director of the Cause Conference, an annual event that connects for-profit businesses, nonprofits, educators, and government leaders to drive social impact in the San Diego region. It focuses on fostering collaboration for community improvement, addressing urgent local issues, and enhancing shared values through partnership. Staci serves as co-director of the San Diego County Donut Economics Alliance, and she's also the president of Reidinger Public Relations, and she's an adjunct professor at SDSU. With this brief introduction, I would like to turn it over to our speaker for her talk entitled Harnessing the Power of Business and Community to Accelerate Social Impact. Staci, welcome again, and we're very happy that you're here and you'll share this wonderful topic with our students and with us.
Well, thank you for that introduction very much. As I'm working across the sectors, I love to be able to share about different academic institutions that are here in the San Diego region. So I'm glad that we're now making this connection today. A couple of things that I will also share with you all is that being a part of San Diego in the region as a retired U.S. Marine has really opened my eyes up to so many different areas that I didn't know that I would be exposed to after leaving service. San Diego has been my home from active duty to retirement since 2008, and I've traveled all over the world and lived in lots of places. It's close to my heart that we make our home as strong and resilient as possible. And so that's kind of where my passion comes from for being involved with Cause. I'm a volunteer. Cause is a 100% volunteer-run organization. So to get started, I really wanted to share that San Diego is for all of us. It's not just one, it's not just another, it's for every single person that's here in the region. And when we think about San Diego, we think about pictures of biotech and beaches and innovation. But what makes this region truly special isn't just our economy, it's our people. And from Barrio Logan to Oceanside, from Poway to Imperial Beach, we're a region of problem solvers who care deeply about our community. Now, even though we do care deeply about our community, we all know that we all don't live in the same way here in our region. A lot of the people that are living in our region may be living on the coast in beautiful homes and having these great family experiences with their children, going to great schools and having access to food and water and education. But just around the corner, we have food banks and we have shelters and we have people living unhoused. We have a lot of deprivation happening here in the region. Some of the things that really hit home is for us to understand that more than 10% of our neighbors here in the region live below poverty line. Affordable housing remains one of the most difficult challenges that we have across several different income levels. It doesn't only capture those who are living at or below poverty level. And these challenges, they're here for us to solve together. It's not just for government. It's not just for our nonprofit sector, and it's not just for those individuals who have deep pockets. It really does call for all of us, including the business sector, to be involved. I wanted to frame it, and I did put a picture here. This is me retiring up at Camp Pendleton from service, and I'm not sure if all of you realize, but San Diego region has the largest military affiliated footprint in the world. With all of our military bases, with our defense infrastructure. Defense is our number one economic driver here for the region. But a lot of people, I don't think they necessarily know that day to day that the military plays that big role. I spent 24 years of my life serving all over in the different parts of the world, in Afghanistan and the Philippines, working in the Asia Pacific realm and other locations. But coming back here to San Diego, I didn't know all of these hardships were occurring right outside the base, right outside our backyards. When I was working in Afghanistan with USAID and other non NGOs, I didn't realize that those same things were happening in my own backyard where my family was living. And so we should all take time to really look outside of our own comfort zones and look around in the region to see the areas that need our help. And what they need us to do is to care. This picture hits home for me because I have a 6-year-old daughter and I have a 30-year-old daughter. Both of them I love dearly. And to see this picture of a mother brushing her little daughter's hair, living in one of the safe parking lots here in San Diego County, and this could be a different part of the world as well, in the United States in particular, but to know that this is occurring, hundreds of families living in this way, it breaks my heart. I brush my daughter's hair every morning, and when I see this photo, it really resonates because these are human beings that deserve to have dignity and to have basic needs of having housing. And so it is something very close to my heart, and I get very emotional about it when I think about it. And one of the things that hit me hard is after I retired, when I started volunteering with a lot of different nonprofits, serving on their boards, one in particular, Homemade, which I'll talk about in a minute. It was hard for me to see that San Diego, being one of the richest regions in the United States, much less the world, but seeing such a dichotomy between the rich and the poor, and is seeing that even within a few miles of each other, or even at one's doorstep, to know that was happening. But, I don't wanna be all doom and gloom. We could do that all day. We can turn on the news to see that. But what I do believe is that we hold the power to improve our region, but we cannot do this in isolation. We cannot do this in silos. What we need to do is come together. And what we're seeing with Cause San Diego is that we highlight these great opportunities where businesses can do well financially and do well for the communities that they serve. And they can find ways to balance profit, planet, and people. But how are we going to do this? How are we going to work in this way across sectors? It all starts with us looking in the mirror and saying, what can I do? What can I pledge to do? What actions can I take? Not saying to yourself, well, that issue isn't something impacting me or my family, so I don't really need to worry about that. If you think about it, prevention is so much better than us having to do things to help people who have fallen through the cracks. If we don't do more to help those in our region on the humanitarian side as well as the ecological side, we will be paying in leaps and bounds in other ways that we see in our hospitals and we see in our jails and we see in lots of other areas where those that do not get the support they need ahead of time because they may not have that safety net, they end up in other ways impacting our ability to support. So, what we see here, like I mentioned, is that the true strength of these companies that we see that are resilient, that are doing well, they do this in collaboration. And this isn't new. I'm sure you're learning it if most of you are in a business school, learning the basics and understanding that collaboration is very important and also having strategic partnerships. But what I'd like to do right now is I'd like to share a little bit about an organization that I've had the privilege of working with since 2018, Homemade San Diego. And what we see here in this picture are a range of for-profits and nonprofits and even the government that's listed, the city of San Diego. And these are just one of many that help Homemade to do its work. But one in particular example I want to share with you that's a good news story as a solution is that Homemade San Diego back in 2022 was approached by Homemade America. Homemade San Diego is one of 20 affiliates around the country helping to build housing and for homeless service providers. And they approached us and said, listen, we have a new workforce development program. What we'd like to do is marry up the issues of construction management on the construction industry side. They have a shortage. People are hemorrhaging and retiring out of that sector, and we need employees. And then on the other side, for individuals with challenges or hoping to get second chances, they're in need of employment. So I was one of the helpers to help develop an education program, bringing in at-risk men and women from across the spectrum, former foster youth, former incarcerated, former institutionalized, those that are coming in or were currently homeless, to get into a short course to build their understanding of the construction industry, and then moving in job partners, which we have about 45, to help these individuals move into stable employment without any job experience. And so There's no way Homemade could have done this on their own. Lennar came in as our seed funder. Lennar, the national company that is the, if not the largest home builder in the United States, with their foundation, they stood firm with us and said, we want to be a part of this solution. And then from there, all of these others that you see here on the screen got involved, whether they were like Promises to Kids, which has former foster youth that they help move through the process of trying to stabilize into college and then into jobs, or Lucky Duck Foundation, who helped to seed funding for us, or Computers to Kids that actually donated computers, or our students who graduated had a computer to be able to work on their resumes and move forward into their job search. So it was just a very wonderful kind of example of the power of community when all the sectors come in together and work together. And by the way, I do want to highlight that when Lennar does something good for Homemade, that's permeating through, not just for them to tell the world that they're doing good in different regions where they have communities, but their employees feel it. Their employees come out. They come out and be involved with Homemade for our Homemade Walk, which is another fundraiser for that same workforce development program. The same thing with Gensler, a huge multinational company that does design and architectural work. They themselves have been able to have us come in, meet with their employees, and their employees then start to figure out ways to volunteer and get involved with different shelters and nonprofits in the region. And then you have the city of San Diego coming in, understanding that they can't bear the weight of all of these different challenges. So knowing that they can put forward some funding in order to support it. So it's kind of a case study of sorts that I think that people don't realize from all the angles of how these organizations benefit. We need to see more of this, and this is kind of the crux of what we're hoping to push for with Cause San Diego. This picture here is a picture of us back in 2023, March 2023. We graduated our first class of students. This was a very proud moment for us, and since then we have graduated over 130 students through our course. We're in our fourth year this year, and we've had over 40% of our students move into full-time with benefit jobs. We see them moving out of shelters. We see them buying their first cars. We see them just solidifying and really having more stability in their life, and self-efficacy, and really detaching from some of the support structures that were there that sometimes made it hard for them to be independent on their own. But this wasn't just us being proud. You see Lennar, the gentleman that's wearing the orange sweatshirt, the gentleman to his right, Ryan Green, he's the division president for Lennar San Diego. What you don't see in this photo are all of the employees at Lennar and how they contributed as volunteers during this program teaching. So it's so much bigger than just being kind of a wise decision that can drive ROI by being involved in the community. It touches the hearts. It helps to build that awesome company culture and getting people to feel more purposeful at work. And by the way, most of these students, I still get emails from them and find out how they're doing. Four of them that class got hired by Lennar, which was amazing for them to go and work for that organization. The second example I really want to share with you right now is a company called TCW Global. TCW Global is based here in San Diego, but obviously international. And what they do is contingency workforce for tons of different companies. These would be part time or smaller, lower waged income types of employees that work through this system through whatever companies that they work for. What I love about TCW Global is that they permeate through so many different wickets that we believe in at Cause San Diego, including this Vibes program you can see here on the screen. Volunteering, investment, belonging, equity, responsibility. Let me just give you a couple of stats about this company and how it operates. And I will tell you, a lot of the times these businesses and how they operate hinge on their leadership. It hinges on maybe the tradition and the backgrounds of the leader coming in. And Sam Cooley, the CEO, he has a giving heart. And this was something he had way before starting this business. So it's permeated through every aspect. This company is voted best place to work in San Diego over and over, which helps them tremendously with recruiting and retaining employees and clients. 90% of their employees volunteer in the community, and they give paid time off if they serve 16 or more hours in the community during the year. They have served over 150 nonprofits, matching donations up to $5,000 from their employees, and they do matching with their contingency workforce clients. They also, on the social impact, on the social responsibility side with sustainability, they do solar panels. They have energy efficient HVACs. They have a restaurant called Bougie Mana, which, by the way, is very delicious if you're trying to try it out. But the restaurant has turned in like a social enterprise in that they highlight nonprofits each month, give them back proceeds to those nonprofits to help their charities. And they offer space within their business spaces and at the restaurant for organizations and especially for nonprofits that are looking for spaces to do events and things like that. So just an amazing example of what one company with hundreds of employees and then this even larger amount of contingency workforce company clients are able to do together. Every time that I go there, the employees are upbeat, they're excited. Sometimes I'm like, "Are you guys working?" I'm like, because I feel like they're having so much fun, but it is possible. If you look at this picture at the bottom with the hearts on it, it says on here that 86% of their employees say that they have best friends at work. What I remember as a young Marine, I love going to work sometimes, not because of the tough, suck it up things they make us do. It was because of the people. I loved going because I loved the people that were there and I had made relationships. We need more companies and businesses, and maybe you will be that future business leader to really understand to put humanity at the center of the decisions you're making. It will reap you so many benefits. This company, without a doubt, has an ambassador every corner because of the way that they treat their employees, their customers, and how they are supporting the community. So this isn't just good for the bottom line. It's good for all of these people who are involved, knowing that they commit their time. And yes, they do get a paycheck, but shouldn't we just get more than that? Wouldn't you like your job to be more than just a paycheck? You want it to be something that if you dedicate most of your life, daylight hours to it, that it's something you're passionate about and feels good. But even with this bright side that I've shared with you, we still have critical challenges that persist in our very busy, distracted world. There are lots of different things that are out there that are occurring. I already brought up a few. Because we're so busy with the work that we're doing, we sometimes may not realize that these issues and challenges are occurring. So at Cause San Diego, what we're really about is building awareness about these issues, not in a negative way, but elevating the major causes and issues and challenges impacting our region and figuring out ways to build awareness to our business sector, to our academic sector. All of you play a very big role in how we can make changes in the region. For academic side, you're doing it now with having me here, exposing your students and faculty and staff, teaching them different ways of leading and how to develop their businesses in a way that is more holistic and balancing people, profit, and planet. The other thing we do at Cause is that we try to build collaboration, strategic partnerships between the different sectors and figuring out ways that they can have long term sustainable relationships, like we saw with Homemade and Lennar and Brookfield and Gensler and things like that. I see so many nonprofits in the region that unfortunately, other than maybe some really dedicated donors that want to support them. A lot of the smaller ones, anyway, that I know of, and even middle sized nonprofits have a difficult time having long term financial stability because they don't know when they're going to get the next grant. They don't know when they're going to necessarily get that corporate sponsorship or corporate donation. So, our call to action for business is to think clearly and deeply about your cause priorities and truly try to be a part of the solution. Social impact is not just handing out food and taking a photo, it's more than that. It's being a strategic asset and partner with that nonprofit. It's helping to serve on boards of directors for nonprofits, which, by the way, every single 501c3 nonprofit has to have a board of directors. And they're always interested in looking for people that want to give back. And it's not all financial, it can be your expertise. Another thing to all of you who are not familiar with serving on boards, it's one of the best ways to build your leadership skills. Getting involved with a nonprofit, either on the board of directors or joining them and serving on a committee, which could then lead to you being assigned as a board. Tremendous opportunity. The peers that you sit next to may have many years' experience ahead of you, and they are there to help you really are their fiduciary responsibility to make sure that nonprofit's successful. So you learn a lot about business through that angle of being involved. And so for cause, the key things I think we talked about earlier, I just want to hit on the pillars of what we have. We have our signature cause conference. We adopted this conference. It started in the late 90s to make the nonprofit sector more effective. And what we ended up doing in 2022, when it detached from the American Marketing Association, was instead of having a cause marketing conference, we wanted to shift the lens back to business, the for profit sector, because there's so much untapped potential there. On the nonprofit giving side, when we talk about GDP of giving, only 6 to 7% of that is from the corporate sector. We're starting to see more momentum with them being involved, but there's a lot there. And then it's not all financial. There's a lot more that they can give on the non-financial side. The other thing we do is that we want to fuel the future generations of business leaders and social innovators. So we have a scholarship program every year. The last 3 years, we've given out over 30 some thousand. Last year, we gave out five $2,000 grants. We will continue to try to go up to 15, 20, or $30,000. It all depends on how much we're able to raise during the year. But those scholarships are more than just money. We highlight those students who actually get the scholarship at our cause conference, which this year is going to be September 24th. They get a highlight through our social channels, and they get highlighted at in-person engagements we do throughout the year. So we're there to support them even beyond getting the money. And then the last two things I'll share is that we have an annual social impact awards program. You can go to our website at causesandiego.org. That social impact awards program highlights for-profit, nonprofit, academic, and government institutions and individuals who are change makers in our region. One of the things we feel is that we should lead with trying to create inspiration and incentivize more individuals and organizations to get involved. And this is one way that we're able to do that. The other things that we do are workshops, mixers. We publicize and promote other key engagements and opportunities that we feel are in alignment with our kind of values and our mission. And we do publish an annual social impact playbook, which I'll talk about here in just a minute. But it's a wonderful organization. I think Dr. Saba has asked me about us partnering together. And so I definitely want to talk more with Alliant University after this briefing to see how we can work together, because Dr. Saba mentioned the donut economics angle that I'm involved with. And we are hoping to move through and create a donut economics portrait for the San Diego region, and also do more education about it and how business can lean into this model to help them stay within the ecological and social needs boundaries. So a couple of things here just to kind of share. Why is business and nonprofit partnerships, why do they matter? What can we reasonably say if you were trying to sell this to a business or any organization for that matter, regardless of your tax status, building that trust beyond the transaction. When a customer sees that you're doing well in the community and you're ingrained in the community, they're more likely to trust the work that you're doing. And we're seeing with Gen Z and with other customers that this is important, more and more important for them when they make decisions about where they spend their money. Expanding impact. Obviously, nonprofits can only do so much. So being involved can really help them expand the positive work they're doing. Humanizing your brand, inspiring your teams, like you saw with the example of TCW Global, growing those stronger communities, local economies thriving, being a part of that instead of just taking, but giving back, and then amplifying those underrepresented voices that are in your community who otherwise are not being heard. Therefore, changes aren't happening that are of their benefit. So, we had our cause conference last year. We See You San Diego had a person that came, Candace, that came up on stage, and she spoke about her journey living 10 to 15 plus years homeless and finally escaping it. We See You San Diego created stickers for our cause conference called Hope Deal. And I have that here on this screen because if you were to think one thing about for Cause San Diego, we are your local neighborhood hope dealer. We're here to try to inspire, activate, and bring that hope, especially to a lot of the businesses, nonprofits, academic sector students, all of those that are, as we all know right now, going through a lot and seeing a lot of things happen in our country and our world that can make things heavy. So we're very upbeat and positive. The things that we do are around that realm. What we do is go out and try to get businesses to either get started or move along the social impact continuum. And this is a framework from a nonprofit called Points of Light that we've also inherited and adopted and love to use. And these four pillars are really what we like to share with businesses. And within our playbook, we show examples of all of these. So that whether you're a nonprofit trying to figure out how to partner with a corporation, if you're a corporation wanting to volunteer and work with nonprofits or with academic sector or with government outreach, it gives you kind of a laundry list of areas to do so. One of the biggest things that I will tell you, regardless of any paperwork or any conferences that we do, our business leader focus groups have elevated our awareness that a lot of businesses, almost every single one, I'd say every single one, they don't want to do bad things for the community. I mean, overall, majority of them, they don't want to do things that are harmful. They want to do well and do good, but they just don't have a person on staff or they don't have the time to figure out how to determine which causes for them to support. So they may be doing things, but they often feel that they, listen to their employees and see what their employees want, or maybe the CEO has something that they want to work on. But the limitations exist mostly with them not having the resources or the staff to implement social impact programming. So we're here to kind of help them see how to do that. We bring in all of these great leaders and businesses and organizations that are partnering together, and we show them how to do it. And we give them playbooks and give them checklists on how to do that so that we can take those barriers away. So if we could just imagine San Diego, a place where every business is also a force for good, where our beaches, schools, neighborhoods, and families thrive together. I know we can do this. We see it happening every day. I think that we just have to have it at the top of mind in how we're designing, whether it's your own business or being within your company and really striving to push your company to lean more into social and ecological sustainability. This is the conclusion of my brief for you all. I hope that you learned some things here. And yes, the world is something we all share. And I just hope that this sparked your interests and ideas and how you can layer these things into the future endeavors that you have or the businesses that you're working with during your project work for school.